especially on Mortal Kombat 2, the sets were so gigantic.
I'm so excited.
Huge. The location where it all takes place, the fight between Liu Kang, Kung Lao, the blue portal, we call it.
The Kung Lao character is so unique because part of his fighting style is with a prop, his hat.
Correct.
How do you train to make sure that it looks fluid when you are incorporating something that is just foreign?
You know, it was crazy, especially for the first Mortal Kombat, because that's when I really had to come up with how Kung Lao uses the hat in real life, because it's, you know, still different from the game, right? When you have to actually, you know, have it in your hands and have to fight with it, because it's the first iteration of the hat was pretty heavy compared to MK2, where, the props department made it a lot lighter. I think it was made out of some type of carbon fiber.
Oh, on the first one?
On the second one.
Okay.
And yeah, so for the first one, when I got the call that I would play Kung Lao, I mean, first of all, I freaked out. I was super excited. And then at the time I was in Beijing in a Jackie Chan Stunt Team training center, which is like the biggest training center in the world. So we had all the equipment available, except the hat. So what I did, I cut out the hat from cardboard, and then I started playing around with it. And people next to me were like, "What is this guy doing, recording himself with this piece of cardboard?" But yeah, it was really helpful, you know, to figure out the movements. And it was my first time dealing with such a special weapon, because normally in martial arts you have like sticks or broadswords,
things are meant to be used.
Exactly. So it was a bit, yeah, it was almost like close to a frisbee or something like that, you know.
Right.
But I went on YouTube especially to research like the game and what Kung Lao would do in the game, like how he would implement the hat and how he would toss it and, you know, cut people in half and all of that. So yeah, a lot of research went into that.
And then are you just staring at yourself in the mirror, filming yourself to make sure that it does look fluid and good?
Yeah, pretty much. I try to combine like the martial arts movements that I usually do, but then adapt them for the weapon, which is the hat in this case. Yeah.
At what point do you begin to get confident that this is how Kung Lao would live in this universe?
Probably a couple of weeks until I was like, okay, I think now I'm getting there. Yeah, in the beginning it was difficult. But yeah, I had so much fun, man.
What was the first iteration of the hat? Why was it so heavy? Just so that it looked good on camera?
I think, you know, the reason for it is because the whole first Mortal Kombat itself was an experiment, because no one had touched this IP for a long, long time, and every department was trying to figure it out as we went, especially wardrobe, you know, and
even the fight scenes too. A lot of it was done on the spot, right?
Yeah, that's right, because we didn't have a lot of prep time for the first one, you know. It was all like kind of on the go, and I remember the stunt team at one point, they were so busy with the other fight scenes that they came to me and said, "Hey Max, we know you're from Jackie Chan Stunt Team, so could you just choreograph your own fight? That would help us a lot to save time." I was like, "Yeah, sure, I love it," you know. And yeah, I have to say, like for the second one right now, we were so much more dialed in terms of choreography, fight scenes, and everyone knew what they were doing, and yeah, it's great.
When you're building the character, how much do you lean into the video games of his movements and his fighting style?
A lot. I'd say almost 100%, because of course I try to add something new and try to be unique, you know, with my approach. But I think with a film like Mortal Kombat, we're trying to make the fans happy, you know. So pulling as many movements out from the game and putting it into a real life action film, I think that's what people want to see, right? So yeah, definitely inspired by, especially MK11 has helped me a lot with this role.
Who would you pick when you were growing up and you play Mortal Kombat? Who was your fighter?
Liu Kang was my to-go character, I have
Okay.
to say. Yeah, I loved how also Robin Shao represented him in the first Mortal Kombat, you know. At first, I thought that was Jackie Chan, but because they kind of look similar, with the long hair and all that. But yeah, Liu Kang, Sub-Zero, yeah, love Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and Hiroyuki Sanada, Joe Taslim. They do such a great job at portraying these characters.
I'd like to inform you that I used to be number 3 in the world on Mortal Kombat in
No way.
puzzle combat. So they had like a Tetris version of Mortal Kombat in one of the video games on PS2.
All right.
Did you ever see that one?
It's been a while, right?
I used to be number 3 in the world, and then my PS2 broke, and I had to send it in, and then I got it back, and I was like 17th, and there was no way I can get back.
So you're like a gamer.
I used to love Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
All the fighting style, everything, the storyline, it was just so unique. I also wasn't allowed to play it as a kid because it was so violent.
Oh,
so naturally, I gravitated to it, and I wanted to play it.
Yeah. It is quite violent.
It really was. Can we go through Mortal Kombat fight scenes when you, Nitara, when you kill her? How does that one?
It was fun.
Is that all done in one day?
No, I think it was spread over a couple of days. Yeah, and we kind of comped some of the shots, like, because there's a lot of CGI involved as well, and we used like a puppet basically at the end to split her in half, and it was a bloody mess. There were like these guys in front of me pumping blood into my face.
How many takes is that for you?
Not too many, maybe 3 takes or so.
So
you have
they
to
have
get cleaned up every time. Yeah.
Is that one of the fight choreographies that you worked on?
Not the splitting in half. What I did was the fight with Koleung. It's more of a training scene that we had. Yeah. It was fun. It was also, because the floor at that time, if you watch the movie, we're in this fight pit, right? And it's like filled with sand. So when you stand in there, you kind of sink into the floor. So it's really difficult to, jump or create some momentum out of that.
Is that one of the challenges that happened when you guys were filming and you figured it out?
Yeah, always. For every action movie, it's like the environment sometimes, Sometimes it's like freezing cold outside or super hot, or you don't always get the luxury of filming in a studio, where everything is padded and, safety, everything is good. But yeah, the first one was tough.
What other challenges were there for you on the first movie?
No, I think I had a lot of fun in general. I don't remember like really, really tough challenges, to be honest.
When you first come in as Kung Lao and you teleport in to save Liu Kang.
Yeah.
Does anything come to mind about that day when you were filming it?
Of course, because I'm doing this 540 spin in the air, which no wire or anything, and I've done that move hundreds of times during wushu competition, because I used to be an athlete for the German national wushu team. So this is one of my special moves, and I had to make sure on the day that I nail it down. And I remember I was nervous, so we had like 5 takes, and luckily I nailed 5 out of 5. I was like super relieved that it all went well. And again, that was a comp shot as well, because after I performed the twist in the air and I land on the floor, that's when they said, okay, cut. Keep the camera still, and then now we move in the hat, because when I was twisting in the air, I wasn't wearing a hat. So only after I land, wardrobe comes in, puts the hat on me. I have to stay in this position and action, and then I have to get up and approach Ludi, and then So it's essentially 2 takes in one.
What fighting style are you trained in?
Predominantly in Chinese martial arts, Chinese wushu, kung fu. Yeah.
So for somebody like you, do you have a stunt double, or are you doing most of your own work?
So I normally don't, but for the second one, I did have a stunt double. And, I don't mind it. I still did like almost everything by myself, but I think the production just wanted to make sure that the actors don't overexhaust themselves. And, I don't have a problem with that, admitting that, because I think people who do have a problem with that are the ones that actually don't do a lot of their own stunts, and they just want to be looked at as, the tough guys. But the reality is almost everyone has a stunt double nowadays,
Was that something you always wanted to do, was kung fu acting?
Yes, pretty much.
Ever since you were a kid?
The crazy thing is that probably from by the age of 5. My dad introduced me to Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee films, and once I saw them, I was like, wow, this is it. This is what I want to do, instinctively. But a little bit later, probably when I was like 10 or 11, I seriously started to train martial arts, and with the goal in mind that I wanted to be a martial arts actor, and not use it too much for competition or anything, but really for the purpose of becoming a movie actor. And so I had to carefully pick which styles or skills I wanted to acquire, because like for something like Mortal Kombat, I think it's really good if you can flip and spin and do all these more theatrical movements, right? So I learned that, but on the other hand, I also got into like realistic combat, and I competed in that as well. So for me, it's like bringing the two worlds together of more of performance martial arts and realistic fighting elements. Because if you know only one, then I think you're kind of missing the whole picture. So yeah, that's important to me to be a complete martial artist.
How would you lean into certain ones that are good for movie making?
I mean,
Are those just different schools or fighting styles?
yeah, over the years, I also came up with my own kind of method. I call it creating control chaos. So essentially, what I describe it as is we want to make something that is choreographed look unchoreographed, to create the illusion for the audience that it's happening.
It's all reactive.
It's all reactive. It's all happening out of the moment. Because if you watch, for example, like the UFC fights, the audience never knows what's going to come next. Is the guy or the girl, the woman going to throw a punch or kick or not? Or is it going to be a knockout? You never know. And I think that element of surprise, you want to keep that as well for the movies. That's why I strongly disagree if a lot of people say like, oh, fight scenes is like dancing, because dancing is choreographed, it goes in tune with the other partner, and it's like very in harmony. Whereas fighting is something, like you said, very reactive, and comes out of the very moment. And for me, I mean, that's my philosophy. I try to, I try to design the fights or perform the fights in a way that it's responsive and yeah, feels real.
Because you have to find that sweet spot of being reactive without actually getting clipped to make sure that it does look authentic.
Exactly. I think one of the important things you have to know when you are a screen fighter is the timing and the distance, also the rhythm, and not being too stiffed up. Because I worked in the past with a lot of real fighters, and I can tell you that most of them, they're very stiff because, I mean, they're trained to really hurt the other guy, right? To knock him out. And so therefore, they don't really know what it means to go with or block like a punch, but not hurt the other person. In film, we don't go through with the power. We stop here, but it still looks like impactful. And you have to make sure that everyone stays safe, your partner doesn't get hurt, and you can move on with the shots. Yeah.
You guys are obviously professionals. You're the best there is. But are there any fight scenes where maybe you did get clipped or contact was made?
Yeah, many times. Of course. Yes, nose and whatever, like all body parts. Yeah.
Because you're playing with the camera angles so that you can kind of...
The frame is almost like a picture. And we as martial artists want to paint that frame as beautiful as possible, but you also have to be able to read the movements, right? So everything we do is just made for the camera. If the camera doesn't see it, then what's the point? So we that's why a lot of people don't understand the stuntmen, action actors. We are filmmakers because we have to understand the framing of the camera, the placing of the camera, the editing, the rhythm of the whole scene. It's not just performing a couple of movements and then going home. It's because I also work behind the camera as an action director. So when I go on a movie set, and like last week I was in Jakarta filming my own documentary, and we have a little fight scene in there, and we didn't have enough stunt guys to, like, when we when we shoot, normally I have someone to stand in for me and perform the moves, so I can watch the monitor and 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 make sure the framing is correctly. In that case, we didn't have enough guys, so I was doing the fight action, bam, bam, run to the monitor, check the playback, boom, okay, no good, one more, bam, change the camera, change the lens, bam, go again, 10 times, 20 times, and then after 6 hours, so exhausted, but that's what I love.
What's that film called?
It's basically a documentary. It doesn't have a name yet, but it's gonna come out in May, aligned with the Mortal Kombat premiere. Because I thought I want to make the audience aware of my beginnings. So it's split into 4 parts essentially, but it all starts in Germany, how I started and how I got inspired by Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and later on I had the chance to become part of his stunt team. We're telling that story, and then also the third stage of how I got a shot in Hollywood and landed Mortal Kombat, and now we're doing Mortal Kombat 2. So yeah, I
That's what I love about your story is how authentic you really are to this character and the roles that you take on.
thank you, man. Thank you.
How,
Yeah.
how did you get part of Jackie Chan's stunt team?
It was crazy. I mean, it's a life-changing moment that happened to me because like I told you before, I have always been a fan of Jackie, and I always tried to meet him, and he was in Germany for 3 or 4 times when I was a kid. I just never had the chance to get close to him until the Karate Kid premiere in Berlin happened in 2010. And that's where, when I heard it, I was like, okay. I prepared a DVD with my show reel on it. And I was, at the time, I would say 20 years old or 19 years old. And I bought a train ticket, went to Berlin. I was one of the first guys standing at the venue, and there was this red carpet rolled out, and there were like 3,000 fans coming in, and the place was super crowded. And when Jackie pulled up, finally, he was just surrounded by too many bodyguards, and he was signing autographs, taking pictures. And I was like, oh no. And then next thing I know is like Jaden Smith, Will Smith's son, comes by and starts signing autographs. And I'm yelling at him like, I want to be part of Jackie Chan's stunt team. I'm handing him my CD with my email address on it, and he just looks at me. He's like, okay. Took it, went off. 1 month later, I'm in Shanghai. I at that time studied martial arts at the sports university in Shanghai. And one night I opened my email account. It says Jackie Chan stunt team. So I didn't dare to open the email for like 5 minutes. I was like, what is this? This is crazy. Open the email. Hey, Jackie Chan loves your show reel. Do you have any chance to come to Shanghai to film a movie with us? I was in Shanghai, it was like faith at this moment. And 2 days later, I met up with the stunt team, and then, yeah, it all started from there. And then I've worked with him over a good 10 years right now, and moved from, basic stunt performer to becoming a part of the team, to becoming assistant stunt coordinator, action director. And I had the chance to work on some projects like The Foreigner, if I'm sure some of you guys know. I action directed Bleeding Steel, is another movie of him, and many more. And yeah, everything I've learned about action, I can say I learned from Jackie Chan, because he's such an icon. He knows every trick when it comes to action filmmaking.
So you really made it happen for yourself because you did that.
I mean, I'm a strong believer that you have to create your own opportunities. Same with Mortal Kombat. I remember I saw an article on Facebook that they were about to film in Australia, and I reached out to my manager. I said, "This is the project I want to be part of." So because of that initiative, I got the audition, and then I auditioned for it, and that's how that happened.
Did you audition for Kung Lao?
No, I auditioned for Liu Kang. Yeah. Which didn't happen, but I think it's good because Ludi Lin does an amazing job at portraying Liu Kang. And I mean, I was sad, of course, that I didn't get the part. And a month later or so, I was in China at the time, and then my manager called me at night saying, "You got the part of Kung Lao." I didn't, to be honest, I didn't know anymore who Kung Lao was. I had completely forgotten because I haven't played the game for so long. But then right away I googled Kung Lao. I was like, okay, it's the guy with the hat. That's cool. I can play that, you know. So and then 5 6 days after, they flew me to New Zealand just to try on the hat for like a 1 hour meeting, not even maybe 20 minutes meeting. And I was like, yeah, hat fits, let's go. Then they sent me to Australia and we started filming the movie.
Oh, that quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it all happened like that. And again, that's one of the life-changing moments in my career for sure. But I feel so blessed being part of this franchise.
What else do you learn from a guy like Jackie Chan, somebody who really paved the way for a whole genre of movies?
Uh, Jackie is very interesting guy because he, he not only teaches his team about action, but also how to, I would say, become a better person. On and offset, he really makes sure that everybody gets treated equally, because in film industry we have this hierarchy of director, producers, and he really makes sure that everyone is being taken care of. That's why he takes his team to dinner. He'd give us clothings of his own clothing brand, and be so generous. And you can see him even when the camera is off, wiping the floor with a broom and cleaning up and moving boxes from A to B, and he's always moving. He's never stopping. I never in my 10 plus years being with him saw him ever take a vacation. So it's just like a workaholic, and he loves action. I don't think the man can retire. Action is his life. And that's why I think one of the big things I've learned from him is to be good to people. Yeah, and watch out for each other on and off set.
What makes his fighting style so unique in the way that he approaches films and movies?
Of course, one of the things is because he does all his stunts by himself. It's very authentic in that way, and he choreographs himself. He writes the script. He's a director. He's a producer.
Oh, he's everything.
Yeah. The first film I did with him is called Chinese Zodiac. He directed, produced all of that. I think he won the Guinness World Record for most credits in one film. Probably, I don't know how many. You would have to check, but crazy. So, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Back to Mortal Kombat. When you go in for the fitting, you find out you're Kung Lao. What are the first days of filming that first movie, and who are your scenes with? And you're seeing all of this stuff come together of such a beloved franchise. What are you feeling?
I feel many feelings at the same time, happy, but also nervous. And I just don't want to disappoint anyone, because that, essentially Mortal Kombat 1 was my first big movie as an actor. Prior to that, I was, like I told you, like stuntman, stunt coordinator, all of that. And I've been on huge sets, I've worked with like big names, and I was familiar, of like what it feels like. But suddenly being an actor and having to make sure that you carry the movie in one way or another was a totally different and new task for me. And of course, I was nervous, even though I didn't have that many lines in the first one, but I still felt the responsibility and the pressure and what it takes to represent the role.
What was the wow moment that made you feel like you were on a big set with a big budget? Is it the costume design, the sets?
I would say it's everything, man. But yeah, especially on Mortal Kombat 2, the sets were so gigantic,
I'm so excited.
huge, and the location where it all takes place, the fight between Liu Kang, Kung Lao, the blue portal we call it. Amazing. Um, you guys gonna love it. Yeah, and that really adds to the feeling of, I mean, when you go in there and uh, and everything is ready, and you just have to put on your hat and go. It's crazy. You feel like a kid, in a big play park. Yeah.
I was bummed the first one didn't get that full theatrical release because it was split. It was also COVID, but now I'm seeing the marketing everywhere.
Yeah.
Billboards, buses. I was at WrestleMania. Penta comes out wearing the Shao
Oh,
Kahn.
you were there?
Yeah, he's wearing that Shao Kahn mask.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. Wow, that's a huge event, right?
Massive. There's 50,000 people there, and he comes out wearing the helmet.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think the marketing team is great.
They're
you know?
crushing it.
Yeah, and even our producer Todd Garner, he's constantly active on Instagram or X, posting about the movie, and we're all into it, because we deep inside love this IP and we want to make it special. And the the producers, everyone put so much heart and thought behind it this time, especially because we've learned from the first one and the mistakes we've made, and we just want to make sure like this one is the Mortal Kombat film that everyone deserves. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
got Johnny Cage coming in.
We got Johnny Cage, we got Katana, we got Shao Kahn, we got so many, like some of the old characters are returning, but then we got this entire new cast as well. So yeah, we right away welcomed them into the family, and we already bonded so much on the first one, like all the actors, and I feel we just extended the family with the second one.
Being a martial artist, and we see the villain now. We see Martin Ford come on set. What do you think of somebody's size like that when they come into the role for Shao Kahn?
Crazy, crazy. I mean, he's a big dude,
Massive.
and for that, he can still move like amazingly well. Martin is great. He's a really humble individual. You can always see him work his ass off. Like, I think he trained every morning before he went on set for an hour or more. I don't know, but and then he's very, very restrictive with his diet as well. Great work ethic. I love learning from people like him, and it reminds me of when a couple of years ago I did a film as a stunt coordinator with John Cena. He was
What film?
very it's called Hidden Strike. It's on Netflix. Yeah. He had a very similar approach. Like, he would wake up very 4 or 5 in the morning, do an hour of training first before he went on set, and then only eat steaks and salad, no sugar, no carbs. And then in between, he he would have these piano sessions by himself.
John
after
Cena?
lunch. Yeah, John Cena. He has massive hands, but he plays piano very, very well
Wow.
and speaks Chinese as well. It's
Yes, he
it
does.
was very inspiring to work with someone like him. So I love surrounding myself with people who want to get the most out of life and do a great job at. Yeah.
When you get into the full wardrobe for Kung Lao, you have the hat. What are you feeling to get into the persona of him and his character?
I think for the second one, it was easier because I've worked so much on the first one for it that I just had to, for the second one, remind myself of who he really was. But I remember also taking private lessons with Larry Moss, who is a very well renowned acting coach here in the States. And I just tried to give Kung Lao more depth. And I remember after the first one came out, I right away got back into training and preparation for a potential second one, even though I didn't know if they would bring back Kung Lao or not. But, I thought, what if? Then I want to be as ready as possible because, I used to be uh, an athlete in Chinese martial arts. So for me, it's like I have that athlete mindset. I want to be ready on day X and perform as good as possible. So, yeah. And then when I heard we would do a second film, I I looked up a Shaolin monk in Berlin who runs a kung fu school, and he took me under his wings and taught me the more traditional Chinese martial arts techniques, and that's something I wanted to use for Kung Lao because, like I said before, I wanted to give the character more depth. I feel with roles like Kung Lao, most of the time the character is expressing himself through his movements, and he doesn't talk that much. But you know, to me, expressing a character through movements is something very interesting because not only do you have to move, no, you have to be able to externalize a certain feeling through these movements. And that's the very interesting part that I like.
Is that what you learned from the Shaolin monk?
Not so much, to be honest. I more learned like some of the Shaolin techniques, but then I think my duty as an actor is to give the movements meaning, you know. And it's similar with acting, like when you get lines to read. Of course, you look at the lines in the first place, but then later on, you kind of have to forget about them and understand that, what's behind those lines, What do you want to get across to the other person? It's the same with fighting. What do you want, you know? And I see a lot of fight scenes nowadays that are very fancy and flashy, but they actually are just there purely for the reason of entertaining, and they're kind of missing the point, I feel.
The purpose for the fight?
The purpose for the fight. So it's always important to remind yourself, like, why are you doing this, Why are you guys fighting? Especially with Kung Lao and Liu Kang in this film, it's very emotional. It's an emotional build-up to a climax. And so it's, again, it's not just movements, but we're telling a story. And that's the exciting part.
And who better to do it than with you and Ludi?
Yeah, I mean, hats off, literally, no pun intended, to Ludi, because he's been such a great partner on this one. And he worked his ass off. I think I don't know how many pounds of muscle he put on for this one, but I hadn't seen him for a while. And when I flew into Australia and he opened his trailer to say hi, he was like, he was huge. I almost didn't recognize him, So he definitely put in the work. He called me up at night sometimes and said, "Yo, let's go down to the gym and train for the choreography." And that's what we did. Put in the hours, and yeah.
Have you seen the movie yet?
I've seen a certain edit of the film, but that was a long time ago. That was more than a year ago. It wasn't done by then.
Oh.
Yeah, but also the music back then wasn't right yet, and the CGI, the special effects weren't done yet. So I'm expecting a whole different movie.
So you're saving it for the premiere with everybody?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have some of the other cast members telling me they've seen it and they just blown away by it. So I keep that for the premiere. I want to experience it together with the fans because, like you said before, for the first Mortal Kombat, it all happened during COVID. Everyone was locked up in their homes. And now we're getting to experience it together with the fans. And this is what I'm really excited for.
And it's such a fan franchise, too.
I know. I can't wait to see everyone come dressed up as, Liu Kang, Sub-Zero, Kung Lao, Shao Kahn.
What is the beef between Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat? Is there beef between everybody?
I mean, personally, I don't have any beef. I love.
Or
Street
it's like
Fighter.
fake beef.
It's fun and games, but yeah.
Right.
I love Street Fighter. I played it when I was a kid, and I'm looking forward to the movie coming out. I think it's great times that we're having so many live action gaming films coming, and the trailer looks good.
What was your first reaction when you saw the new Mortal Kombat trailer?
I was pretty stoked, man. Yeah. And the trailers only get better and better. I mean, recently another one came out, and I was like, wow. Whoever edited that trailer, deserves a raise.
Hats off to them.
Hats off again. Yeah.
What would you say was the first big break for you stepping into being a martial arts actor?
I always had to create my own opportunities, because I grew up in Germany, and there weren't many things related to martial arts films other than the DVDs I had at home and the friends I filmed like some fight scenes in the park with, and that's how it all started. And what's interesting is, as a teenager, I read Jackie Chan's autobiography, and he kind of explained how he went from like a background actor to like a camera assistant to a stuntman to a stunt coordinator, actor, director, producer, like kind of climbing the ladder and learning each and every department. And after I read that, I was like, that's what I want to do as well. I want to know the filmmaking industry inside out and understand how to put it all together. And the ultimate dream was to become a martial arts actor and action director, but I in the beginning I became an extra for like TV shows and stuff like that. That's how I learned. I was working as a gaffer, I was working as a sound guy.
Is that here in America?
No, that was back in Germany, and I was working as a stand-in for films like Looper. I remember they were filming later when I moved to Shanghai. I did that
With Hayden Christensen and Rachel Bilson?
with Bruce Willis.
Oh, Looper.
Yeah.
What am I thinking of? I'm thinking of Jumper.
Do they have two Loopers?
I think the movie I'm thinking of is Jumper.
Okay.
Different movie.
Okay. Yeah, but no, what I'm trying to say is like I love movie making, and so with the goal in mind, still that I want to become a martial arts actor, but I found it very handy to also understand the other departments as well, because that's when you get to appreciate it. When you stand on a set and you know what it takes for the whole lighting department to set it all up, and like we are all collaboratively working together as a team. And I think that's what keeps me grounded in a way, because I see a lot of actors who come on set and get makeup done and like do their 5 minutes, and then they go back to the trailer and they think, "Oh, I'm so great," And that's something that I'm just like, okay, especially when you work as a stunt guy in China. It's very tough. We have like 14 to sometimes 16-hour days, and
Of
with
just constantly beating your
maybe
body.
yeah, it's crazy. There's you can be lucky sometimes if there's coffee on set. Yeah, hot water. So I mean, at least back then, like in the 2010s, that was a pretty tough world. And I remember after having done some films as a stuntman in China, I came to work on Kingsman in London, and I was like, "What? We have catering here? I can choose my food? That's crazy! I love it. I don't want to go back." No, but China definitely made me learn so much, because it's a different way of doing action, and most of the time, the stunt coordinator takes over the set. As the director steps out, coordinator controls the camera, and everything else. Yeah, it's kind of the culture.
What was the most challenging fight scene you've ever done?
I would say the MK2 fight with Liu Lin. Yeah, challenging in a way because I think the stakes are so high. But I've been doing like martial arts fight scenes for 25 years right now, and I feel like it has become more like second nature. But then doing it on that level, like with this budget, and it's just something else. You want to really make sure everything is on spot, and it was fantastic.
I can't wait to see it. I really can't wait. Can we do some rapid fire questions?
Sure.
Favorite Mortal Kombat character of all time,
Aside from Kung Lao,
aside from Kung Lao?
Sub-Zero.
Hardest move you had to learn for Kung Lao?
720 kick on a wire for Mortal Kombat 2. That's the entry move that Kung Lao uses. Yeah, that was
Can you break that down for us who don't know?
in action filmmaking. We sometimes use wires to enhance like the techniques, flying techniques.
So you have more time in the air and
Exactly, yeah. But people think it's easy. It's actually pretty hard, and and difficult to ride a wire because you have to balance yourself in the air, and so we call these things pick points. So you attach your wire to this pick point, and then most of the time you wrap it up around your body so that you can spin out of it when someone pulls you. And that move I did is let's call it 720 kick because I don't have for the lack of a better term right now. Um, I remember that was the first day of filming the fight, and I came on set, got dressed into the stunt harness, and the stunt coordinator comes up to me, says, "Yo, your stuntman Jimmy is already." Shout out to Jimmy, by the way. Your stuntman Jimmy is already in the wire, and do you mind if he does it because we have to move on because of time restrictions? I said, "No, bro. I have to do this myself. I've been practicing for so long. This is my shot, you know." He was like, "Okay, you do it." But then I had even more pressure, you know, because now I'm the one telling them, "No, I can do it. I don't need a stunt guy." And but yeah, again, got everything right. So it was a great moment.
When you're getting hooked up to those wires, is that something you've just gotten so good at over the years of doing this?
Yeah, of course. In the beginning, it's difficult, you know, and I mean, I failed so many times before that I had to learn how to do it the right way. You know, it's not like we do everything perfectly when we get into this industry. We have to learn and learn from people that are better than us. And when I was starting in China, I mean, that was such a huge learning curve for me, you know, because their level of doing action is completely different from what I had experienced in the past, you know, in Germany. Like, you know, just filming stuff with my friends and stuff. It's different. It's different. Um, but yeah,
Most painful stunt you took on set?
so many painful stunts, especially after that MK2 fight. There was one point after day 6 or so where I just couldn't get up from the floor anymore because my lower back hurt so much. It was sore, you know, from all the fighting. But luckily, no heavy injury or anything like that. But yeah, also when I was working with the Jackie Chan stunt team, I did a couple of harder hits, like falling from buildings, like maybe 6, 7 meters in the air, and then falling to a truck, then falling down to the hard floor. You know, no padding or anything.
No padding on the truck?
Yeah, no padding, just do it. You know,
Max.
and yeah, it's the small things that when you get hurt. Actually, those bigger stunts, you um you program your mind, and everyone around you wants to make sure it's safe. So you become like a cat, you know, rolling off of it. But then,
Which takes away some of the pain when you are spinning?
yeah, exactly. But then sometimes you walk down the stairs and you just twist your ankle, you know. So, I mean, I think for every stunt guy, sooner or later, you you're gonna get hurt, you know. But you have to make sure that you stay as safe as possible. But it's a dangerous job, you know, and it's just some of the risk of it that you have to take.
The fact that you jumped off a building that high onto a truck onto the ground is so crazy to me. What was the craziest stunt you've seen happen?
You know, that's what I love.
Doing that?
Yeah, it's not something that I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it. Let someone.
You're like,
No,
oh,
I
we can
actually
do this.
volunteered for it. I was like, oh, this is a those are the stunts that I'm looking for. But maybe nowadays, you know, getting a bit older, I'm like, okay, take it easy, just do the fight scenes, and yeah. But
That's wild.
sorry, what was the question?
It's hard for me to wrap my brain around you falling that high onto a truck onto the ground.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean that's what it is.
That's what we do.
There's no magic, you know. Just gotta. Some stunts you just have to do it. Don't think too much. Just do it.
Kung Lao's hat, weapon or fashion statement?
Both, but if you ask me, weapon first.
Favorite fatality in the entire franchise?
Come on. Flawless victory, splitting Nitara in half. That was fun.
Who do you think is the most underrated Mortal Kombat character?
Most underrated.
I was glad we got to see Reptile in the first one.
Yeah, Reptile. Even though he or it has never been named as Reptile, right?
Oh, he wasn't?
We don't know. It might come back in another form, but yeah, you could. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe.
Could we do some fan questions too?
Yes.
Have you played Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks? And if so, what are your thoughts on the opening scene?
The opening scene, yeah, I played it. The opening scene is Kung Lao, Liu Kang fighting a bunch of bad characters, is it?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen it yet.
Shaolin Monks, but the old game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when I researched for Kung Lao, I think I saw that opening scene. Wow, but it's been a while.
Right.
Yeah.
What Mortal Kombat villain would you love to see on the big screen?
Shinnok?
Chinook.
Yeah.
What does he look like?
Oh, it's this guy with the horns and looks like one of these evil sorcerers.
When you're playing the character, do you try to portray the original Kung Lao or more of the arrogant Kung Lao?
I like the cockiness though, and I think I had the chance to do a lot of that on the first one, especially at the dinner scene, just to play a little bit with Kano.
What do you think is the most misunderstood thing about Kung Fu actors? What do the audiences not realize?
I mean, I think Kung Fu actors are just actors who have this enhanced skill set to them, and yeah, for me, it's just another tool to express a character, and I feel it's not a restriction; it's a plus, and I can see myself doing other genres as well in the future, not only sticking with martial arts films, but of course that's what I love doing, and yeah, I think a lot of people think that you're either this or either that. You're either just an actor or you're an action guy. But what I'm trying to do here, especially with Mortal Kombat 2, is to show the audience and producers and make the people aware that I can do both, I can do a dramatic role, I can do action. And I think that's cool, and that's kind of what we need in this new day and age, to have, the young generation come up and really being able to, with people like Fred Astaire, Charlie Chaplin, back in the days, they were singing, dancing, acting, everything, and yeah, it's the same with kung fu martial arts actors. They know how to use their body. In my case, I also like to sing, I like to act, I like to direct, I like to do it all. So it's cool.
What would another dream role be for you? Would it be a drama? Would you do a horror?
Horror? Yeah, why not? I like thrillers, like the whodunit kind of things. Yeah, play a detective or play a military guy in an action film. I would love to do that, like something like Extraction. But yeah, I'm open for all kind of genres.
Where are you living now?
At the moment, I live in Taiwan, in Taipei, and I spent a lot of time in Asia. Just came back from Jakarta. Before that, I was in mainland China and then Hong Kong, and yeah, Asia is a great place. I love the food, love the people.
Is that all for work? The traveling?
Yes and no, but this time it was, and my family, they're still in Germany, in Nuremberg. That's where I was born and grew up. So I make sure I visit Germany every year to spend time with my family. And yeah, my brother Li Huang, who's a stunt coordinator, also from the Jackie Chan stunt team, he lives in Spain. So I get to spend time in Spain sometimes visiting him. I'm traveling a lot, But this is the cool thing with the movie making lifestyle, that you get to see a lot of places. And yeah.
How much time do you spend in the States?
Not so much actually, but I come here for, taking meetings, and like my management is here, so I have to make sure that, once in a while, you know, people see my face, and that's just part of the industry. But yeah, I love LA. I think it's a cool place. So many artists and filmmakers, and yeah,
Coming from Germany, what was the most shocking thing about LA for you?
things are expensive.
The cost of living and everything?
I think so, yeah. But no, I mean, aside from that, nothing too shocking. Actually, more like welcoming, I would say, and good vibes.
Yeah.
And like I said, I love hanging out with artists, other artists, or business people from the industry, and see how we can collaborate. And learning from other people has always been a big thing for me. And yeah, things are looking good. Like I told you, I was just in Jakarta, and that's one of the things for the future that I want to do is make my own films as lead actor, but also action director behind the camera. And I feel I can most likely do that in Asia, because things are a bit more, I don't know how to say it, like
Quicker?
yeah, quicker. And with a country like Indonesia, they're slowly getting started with doing more stuff. So
More accommodating?
yeah, I think I can roll the dice a little bit faster over there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it's really cool seeing what we can do over there. And
Do you do your own writing too?
Yeah, I do, out of necessity, because there's no one right now who's writing, so I have to do it. But I think it's a love-hate relationship for me with writing, because I'm not that good at sitting down the whole day.
Yeah, you seem like a go guy.
But but then I think 2 years ago I wrote my first full script, like 100 pages or so, finished on my 30th. How old? No, sorry, I was 35. I turned 35, and then on the day I finished the script and presented to myself as a birthday gift. It was something very cool. I hope I can get it made.
I hope so
someday.
too.
Yeah.
What's the premise of that one?
You mean like the story? Well, it's about essentially it's about a stunt team being trapped inside a studio, and so we're kind of diving into the horror genre there.
Okay.
But yeah, I think people would love it, and it's a cool concept.
I hope it gets made.
Yeah.
This has been awesome talking to you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you
I
so much for
enjoyed
coming by.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
So the premiere next week, films out May 8th.
May 8th, IMAX.
Go see it in IMAX. That's where you have to see it.
Definitely.
On the big screen.
I'm not joking. I'm so excited to see the film
I can't wait.
because I know it's great.
When is your film coming out too? You said in May? Your documentary?
Yeah, so it's coming out aligned with the release date of MK2. So around May 8th.
And if people want to see it, they can go on your socials and you'll be...
Yeah, it'll probably be on YouTube.
Cool. Thanks so much for coming by.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Love to do this again.
Definitely. Let's do it. Guys, go follow Max. Instagram, TikTok. Are you on TikTok?
Yeah, lately I joined TikTok.
Amazing. Cool. All right. See you guys. That was so great.